What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Rad Company what are we at? Season 3, episode 3. And man, this is going to be a good one tonight. And guys, I hope you're not getting sick of me because honestly, I was on this afternoon, I was on late last night. So it's pretty much like 3 in one day to an extent. And I've never done that before. So hopefully people show up and want to check out what's going on tonight and are not sick of me too much yet, because I have a pretty cool guest that's going to be joining me today. And I actually think that it might be the first time he's been on any show other than his own. I mean, we'll find that out later tonight, but I just want to scroll through really quick, find out who is in the house. So if you're checking this out, please come say what's up in the chat, and we'll kind of get things rolling here. So Adrian James in the house. What is going on, man? What is going on? Brandon Evans, what is up? Doggo Hound, what up? Hall & Oates, what's up? Garrett and Captain Horror. Sam, what's going on? Ken Carlson in the house. Witch Hunter here. Cisco Horror, what is going on? We've got the Metal Maniac. Captain Horror's in the chat too. Carlos, I was just thinking of you the other day. What did I say? It's great hearing from you, Carlos. Da Vinci, what is going on? Oh, man, thanks, dude. Always time, always time. Jack Frost, what is going on here? Look at this. Taking a break from homework. I love it. I love it. Scratch Burno, what's going on? Jason Naylor, what is up? So awesome, guys. Thank you for popping in. I see people are still kind of coming through. Guys, I appreciate you coming to check this out. I love doing these shows where I basically bring people on, chat with them about their channel, what they're about. I usually try to bring on different people that maybe you don't see me collaborate with a lot. And people that I watch and people that I've, come across that I feel need to be talked about. You guys need to kind of learn about, and I want to learn a little bit about them as well. So we do have a super chat coming through really quick before I introduce our guest. Michael, what is going on? Thank you, dude, so much for that super chat. I appreciate that greatly. Thank you for being here. And we know how this rolls on this channel. You give a little super chat, you get... I got a little Haim dance going on there, Michael. Thank you again so much. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on someone, again, you've probably seen him in the chat. He's in the chat right now. He's been on the chat in a lot of my streams. And someone whose content I really do think needs to be checked out because he's got it, man. He's got a good look. He's got good aesthetics. He knows what he's talking about. I think this dude is pretty damn rad, and I want you guys to think so too. So I'm introducing now Mr. Captain Horror. Welcome to Rad Company.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Thanks, man. Dude, thank you so much for popping on. Is this your first live stream on YouTube?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Oh, dude, I love being the first. I love it. Bringing new people to the table.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Fit and Frightening in the house. What is going on, girl? I know, dude. Rest in peace, Darren Drozdoff. Cap, now you are a wrestling fan by any chance?
You know what? I'm not really a wrestling fan. No, I did grow up with some wrestling in my background, but I kind of just let it go. I have a brother that's like diehard wrestling fan, but I'm not into wrestling at all, actually.
Do you know who Darren Drozdoff is that just passed away? Do you know who that is?
No, I don't actually. That's how much I don't.
So it's actually a crazy story for anybody out there who are wrestling fans. Darren Drozdoff was an ex-football player that got hired by the WWE in like the 90s during like the Attitude Era. And the one thing that really got him signed was the fact that he could puke on command. And Vince McMahon thought that was really cool. Right. So he came out and his name was Puke. And, his gimmick was he would just vomit whenever, during matches or whatever, after matches and stuff. And then they kind of switched up his gimmick a little bit, ended up calling him Droz because his last name was Drozdoff. And, he was really starting to come into his own, and he ended up getting paralyzed in a match in WWE and could never walk again. And this was in the late 90s. And, ever since then, he's been paralyzed in a wheelchair, and he just passed away at the age of he was in his 50s or something. So it was just a crazy story to kind of think that all the crap he's kind of been through. And I don't know if anybody knows how he passed, but yeah, he just recently passed away. It's crazy.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, just a crazy, crazy story. But man, again, welcome to the show. Now, here's the question I was going to ask you in the back, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait until we get on. Now, I am usually really good. My memory is really good. Do you remember how you found me, or did I find you first? I'm trying to think how we first got in any kind of contact at all. And a part of me feels like the first thing I remember about you, and you may have come into my streams or something before, but was you when you had the makeup on and you did the spooky bags and all that stuff. I remember that video was one of the first ones I remember, and I was like, who is this guy here?
Oh man, I had a lot of fun doing that video. Yeah. Well, I found you through Dead Pit. I was watching Dead Pit streams, and it was right at the beginning of me really being interested in starting a channel and trying to jump back into the collecting game, because it's I come from years ago, the Anchor Bay era of collecting, and even but I gave it up, or I kind of put it to the side for a while because it just became pretty expensive. So but when I was getting back into it around that time, that must have been maybe 2020 or 2021, I forget, but yeah, I found you through Dead Pit, and then I saw I think it was a New York Ninja review you did, or
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was right around that time. So when I saw that review, I was like, I love your vibe, dude. I love the whole aesthetic of your setup and everything. And just, I was drawn to your videos. So I started digging, started watching more. And then I started watching the Dead Pit streams because I got into Vinegar Syndrome. That was my first, pickup from Vinegar Syndrome, was the New York Ninja box, that VSU style box they put out. And from there, yeah, just started watching more of your stuff.
Yeah, man, that actually was one of the first of my earlier videos on my channel that actually did really well. And I think what it was that was kind of a big deal for Vinegar Syndrome. And I was lucky enough to get that early because I was at a convention a week before it was released, and they had them there. So I was able to kind of grab it early and do a quick review. And a lot of people kind of found me through that New York Ninja. Now, were you someone who knew who Dead Pit was prior to 2020 or prior to when you started the channel?
You know what? The name definitely rang a bell, but I just wasn't, I did not go onto forums. I know there was Dead Pit forums, and I wasn't into YouTube much over the years. I almost started a channel back in 2006. I was in a band that put out a video years ago on YouTube in 2006, and I was thinking of making a channel on metal and stuff, but it never came through. It never happened. But Dead Pit, I've heard the name, but I've never watched whatever they put out. I have no idea how they were putting out content, whether it was a podcast or what, but I know the name Dead Pit definitely, was something I heard. And it wasn't the movie. It was definitely them.
Yeah.
It was definitely two guys that are horror reviewers and whatnot. And they're in that realm of, collecting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean they've been around, I think, since 2005, 2006. So yeah, they started as a radio show, and then they went onto YouTube to dabble a little bit, but never really did much with it. And then they started really hammering YouTube when I did, was in 2020 is when I started, and they kind of came back because they took in a 5-year break or whatever. So they were kind of out of it for a while. But no, it's good to have them back. And yeah, a lot of people that were collecting from back in the day just know them, just by name alone, like you said.
Yeah, I definitely love their dynamic. CK and UB they're just excellent together, man. And you in that dynamic as well works so well. So those streams are just fucking amazing, man.
Hey, man. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. No, I mean, I appreciate that because, me coming into the mix was kind of Wes's idea, and I didn't really know Uncle Bill at all at that point. And, I'm very different from them, but kind of the same. So it was a very interesting dynamic, and I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to be perceived, but I think that people have done pretty well with the whole idea of it. But I'm sure there's probably a lot of OG Dead Pit fans that probably just don't feel like I fit that whole dynamic. But It's fun to do that stuff with those guys. We keep each other accountable and creative and stuff. So it's definitely cool.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. I look forward to it all the time. I tell you, man.
Now, let me ask you this. When did you start your channel? Because I went back and looked at your stuff and I swore you had way more videos than you do. So you're a relatively newer channel, kind of, or are you just very scarce on when you post? Because I think you only have like maybe like 40 videos, maybe.
Maybe I think 34. I probably uploaded the 34th like the other day. I just put up 2 videos recently, but yeah, I started the channel last year. Like I actually made the channel in March of 2022, but I didn't start uploading until May 2022. So like at the end, around the end of May is when I started uploading videos. And I kind of been on a like, you know, a slower schedule. Like I wish I could upload like on a schedule like twice a week or something like that. It's just not feasible for me. It's not realistic. And then, you know, I like to do a lot of editing. So I take my time with that. And it's like a process. It's a love-hate thing with that thing. Like it's cool, it's awesome. And then I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to I don't want to edit a video. So I get lazy with it. Then other stuff in life, you know what's up. I just all kinds of stuff gets in the way.
Yeah, no, for real. It does. And that's what my issue is a lot of the times. Like, I would rather come on and do live and boom, just bang it out. And
Yeah.
again, live is harder for a lot of people because there is no edits, right? So you have to just either just deal with any screw ups or whatever and let it roll. But
Yeah.
for me, it's like I have the worst problem like recording a video and then being like, okay, well, now I got to sit down and edit this thing. Like that is like my least favorite part of YouTube is having the edit things. You know, it's wild.
Absolutely. But yeah, to answer your question, last year in May is when I started uploading videos.
Wow, so yeah, you are really new. So guys, if you haven't checked him out, he's his links are in the description of this video. So definitely check him out. Take subscribe to him because again, I think he's another content creator that just needs a little bit more eyeballs on him because he's doing a lot of unboxings. He's showcasing his collection. Obviously, a big horror fan. And one of the cool things that you do that not many people do in this space is you actually do showcases of like some of the horror shirts that are coming out from companies like Cavity Colors and Fright Rags and stuff, and which is really cool because we all get them, but you know, there's not many people out there that are actually doing like a haul video where they're showing all the designs and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that, and I was just thinking the other day, man, it's really time for another like t-shirt haul. And I didn't do a haul, but I just bought this one from Gutter Garbs that I'm wearing now, this Creep Show 2 one. And you're telling me that now, and it's time for another shirt haul. Yeah. It's been a while, but yeah, I like doing those a lot because those companies, so many Terror Threads, Gutter Garbs, my God, so many have really awesome t-shirts. And yeah, man, that's like the wardrobe for the videos all the time. So, you know, I definitely got to talk about it. And of course, like the hat right here comes from Little Shop of Gore, which I know you bought your
Right.
from.
I did get the Freddy phone from that.
So sick, dude. Oh my God.
That was a big boy purchase. I was really on the fence for that for a while, but I was like, I gotta pull the trigger because it wasn't cheap, right? So, but
No.
it's definitely a cool item. They do great work over there. But you know, talking about your collecting and taking time off and all this stuff, let's go back and talk about like the little captain. So I want to know about like little kid captain and like when was when was his introduction to horror? How long have you been a fan of this for? You did say you were collecting DVDs back in the Anchor Bay days. Like, I just am curious about like your history with horror.
Well, honestly, I could pinpoint the exact moment like that horror like became an obsession for me. And it was back in '87 when my brother took me to the movies to see Evil Dead 2. I was like 5 years old. And I was just blown away by what I was seeing on screen. It was the most intense roller coaster of an experience for my little body. It was just, I mean, vivid memories of sitting in that seat and seeing, you know, what unfolds in that film. It really hit me. It really hit me hard. So I've been a horror fan since I was a very young kid. Like one of my earliest memories, and this is not a very good one. I was kind of really terrified, but I have memories of being in the crib, and I must have been about 2 or 3 years old, and hearing the theme music from Tales from the Dark Side coming from the living room when my brothers are watching it, and it scared the shit out of me. I mean, you know that theme, and you know, man lives fucking voice. Anyway, but yeah, like
What a great
I've been
theme.
to horror for a long time.
Man, and that theme is so creepy even to this day that I can't imagine that being stuck in your head for all these years
Oh
because
yeah.
it's once you hear it, you can't unhear it. So I assume you come from a family of multiple siblings then.
Yeah, I got 5 brothers. I'm the baby.
Wow, wow. So you got into all the stuff you shouldn't have early because of them. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. I was introduced to a lot of like gore and really, violent stuff. Yeah, early, but I mean, it didn't. I don't know. I guess it damaged me, but it made me like really into horror, man. Like it's weird because they watched horror a lot growing up, and that's how I was exposed to a lot of
Mhm.
classic stuff. But as they got older, they kind of let it go, and I'm like weird to them now because I'm obsessed with this, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
They're over it now. And then
Yeah,
you should say,
they're like over it. Yeah.
I learned this from watching you. You did this.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's your fault.
yeah, it's all you. You
Yeah,
made me
yeah,
like
for
this.
sure. Like I
Uh,
do have one brother into horror, but not as much as I am. Like I put on Zombie for him, and he was like, "What the hell is this, dude?" I'm like, "Really? Like the best."
that is awesome. Well, you know what? I don't know if Tony caught the balloons behind you, but it was you did celebrate a birthday recently. So Tony says, "Happy birthday, Captain Hara."
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Look, you still got your party stuff all up from the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
party, the big
I'll
bash.
keep the phones until they like really deflate, and then I start inhaling them, and I start speaking like chipmunks for my nieces.
I love it.
Then I pass
Now,
out.
talking about the t-shirts and stuff, like how rad would it have been? Like, where were those when we were like kids or teenagers, right? Like,
Tell me
I would
about it.
have died to wear that stuff to high school. Like, they didn't. You just couldn't get it. Like, or at least I didn't know where to get it. You go to the malls, they weren't there. I mean, I was lucky to get like band t-shirts back in the day, let alone
Yeah,
creep show t-shirts to wear to school.
that's what I wore a lot of band t-shirts. It was mostly band t-shirts for me when I was growing up for sure. But like horror t-shirts, yeah, I agree. Like I don't remember seeing those at all. Like even in those shops like in the city, I would go to like the Village or anywhere in Manhattan to pick up some metal shirts. Like there's a ton on West Fourth, a ton of shops that just have a bunch of shirts, but horror I never really saw unless I wasn't paying attention and I just didn't realize it. But again, I was into horror when I was a kid. So if I would have saw like a Freddy t-shirt, Nightmare on Elm Street, like all around, I definitely would have got one of those. But which I'm
Oh,
sure was abundant because Freddy Krueger was so popular when I was growing up.
oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, like you said, I mean, if you're in the city, if they were gonna have shirts, they would have had some there. Like, I mean, we're
I
both
guess
in the Northeast, so I mean, I wasn't seeing anything around here, but you look around now and it's like it's so common. You walk into Spencer, you walk in any store, and you're gonna have damn Walmart selling horror t-shirts now. And think about all the other stuff like figures and toys. Like, I wish that we had all that stuff
oh man.
at our fingertips when we were kids.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. And that's I was like going crazy over those like McFarlane figures when they would come out, those movie maniacs. That was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
you can
Because
imagine.
it was so out of nowhere that when those things started coming out, it was like, I've never seen this before. Like, you're so used to just the action figures for kids, and all of a sudden now you're getting like these like realistic looking like horror movie uh figures, and it was mind blowing at the time.
Oh man, loved it.
Now, going back to wearing band t-shirts, you're in a band, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Absolutely.
let's talk about that a little bit because I've never talked to you about it, and I'm just really curious about this band thing, when it started, how's it going? I guess you are the singer, is that right?
Yeah, I'm the vocalist. Yeah, lead
Dude,
vocalist.
let's talk about it. Tell me about it.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. I got into doing music at a young age when I was like 16 years old. My introduction to music, I'm even way back when I was a kid, I started listening to metal, metal, Metallica, all that stuff, Slayer, and a lot of stuff that UB likes, I think, too. You know what I'm saying? I know he's into
Mhm,
Slayer,
mhm.
but my introduction was into metal, and then as I grew older, hip hop was a something I got into because of, I guess, the neighborhood I was in. I was like an odd person out in my neighborhood. Nobody listened to metal. It was just me. Yeah, for real. It was just
Right.
in a real hood area, in East New York, in Brooklyn. But most people didn't listen to metal, so I got into hip hop as I started hanging out. And my introduction into being a musician or any like type of lyricist was I started writing hip hop lyrics, and I got with like a hip hop group in high school, and we were doing like rap songs and stuff like that. And as time went on, when I graduated from high school, I got with a band, and then we started doing like new metal because new metal was like so huge in like 2000, 99, 2000. So
Mm-hmm.
That was my first like introduction to like performing with a live band behind me, and that was like from 2000 on to like 2010. And then I got with another band called Anesthetized, and that's when it got really heavy. It was just like deathcore, death metal, and that's exactly the direction that I wanted to go. I just wanted to go heavier and try to do harsher vocals and just push myself. And it ended up being an interesting ride for me and experience. But now that lead me to today, you know, where I'm in this new band, or new from those at least. I've been in this band for like 8 years so far, and it's called Divergence, and we do death metal, where it's like progressive death metal.
So at this point, did anything progress when you were writing rap lyrics, then going into the late 90s, early 2000s? Were you now singing? Were you half screaming, half rapping, like the
Yeah,
type of
that,
stuff that was out at the time?
yeah,
Using
exactly.
those lyrics and using your
That,
past of hip hop, right?
yeah, so it was like, you know, just like sort of a live band playing like a hip hop beat, and I would like rap over it, and in the chorus I'd be screaming maybe, and you know, that kind of vibe. And it was cool for a while, and it just fizzled out. Like that style, like even though it's big today, sort of among people who are nostalgic over it, but
Mhm.
it kind of just like fizzled out, and it was just, I don't know, it started becoming a waste of time, dare I say. I hate to say it like that, but we were having fun with it for a few years, and then I wanted to go heavier, and they wanted to stay in that hip hop metal sort of direction, and I was like, I'm over this, dude. It was like 2006. I'm like, nah, man. I'm getting into other stuff. Like deathcore was really becoming a huge thing at that time, or maybe it was already, but like it was like on the rise as far as like my
Mhm.
my experience with it. And luckily, I found a band that was right going down that direction, and they were like all 10 years old, younger than me. So I was like, the first time I was like the old guy.
Right, right. I mean, that's how I feel when it comes to a lot of things. We're the old guys now, and
Yeah, exactly.
crazy to see. Like, I'm sure I probably grew up maybe around the same time you did. I was always big into music. Like, I mean, I was more big into music growing up than I am now. I just feel like it's just, to me, it's just something else. Like, I just don't have enough time in a day to like focus on. Like, I'm even forgetting like some of my favorite albums, some of my favorite song names. Like, my brain now is like so focused on all these other things that I feel like music has really taken a backseat. But growing up, like, I mean, I was in, anywhere from like, I'm trying to think like how it all kind of started. I mean, started all different stuff, 80s hair stuff. And it's like, then, you got into like the pop and hip hop and R&B stuff, and hip hop was there. Then I was in the age of like Marilyn Manson coming out, and
Oh,
like, and that was a huge deal, and Corn and Nine Inch Nails
oh
and
my God.
that whole thing. And then I got really big into like the hardcore scene for a while. So
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
if
Yeah.
you lived in New York, and I'm sure you may have kind of been around that because it was
Yeah.
such a
For
big thing,
sure.
like people like Madball and
Yeah.
uh
Absolutely.
so you know them obviously, right?
Loose, yeah, all that, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Um I'm trying to think, like you're talking about like even like back then, like a lot of the hardcore bands, like they had a lot of rap influence. And I don't know if you know a band, they weren't huge, but I liked them at the time. They were called East Side. They played a lot around this area.
You know what?
Uh
Doesn't ring a bell, honestly. It's like I was into hardcore, but like not as much as I was into like death metal and then like
mhm,
thrash metal when I was growing up. So the only hardcore that I have experience with, which I don't know if this is, it is considered hardcore, is Biohazard. Like that was like
of
one of my favorites
course.
growing up. Biohazard from Brooklyn, and like Life of Agony and bands like that. You know.
Yeah. No, it's like, so like that was kind of like you said and I felt the same way. You always kind of a little bit of an odd man out, and especially you
Yeah.
being in Brooklyn, I'm sure you probably felt that way a lot.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a great time back then. I don't know how the scene is now. I see Matt in the chat talk about Blood for Blood. Of course, man. Like I was seeing them all the time in Boston back in the day, and even bands like E Town Concrete. I don't remember who was a New York band and who wasn't, but it was a huge deal back then. And then then I even started getting into like, I don't know, people. I don't even know what they call it now, but like then Asking Alexandria hit the scene, and like that first album was pretty dope. And then like,
Like
um, yeah,
metalcore.
like all that stuff was like starting to get big, and I was still listening to it at the time. And then you had Crabcore and all that other junk or whatever. But hitting things like Ozfest every year, Warp Tour every year was just
Yeah.
such a staple in my life, and just there's none of that anymore. I feel like.
No, no, no. There was a tour that I would go to called Summer Slaughter, which was predominantly all death metal bands, and it would be more smaller venues, but that was like the big tour for my genre, and that was like an every year thing. We would have to go to that Summer Slaughter, but I'm like over shows now, man. I'm so done with shows.
Now, are you guys doing anything, or are you just doing practices and stuff?
No, we have shows. We have shows coming up this month, actually. Yeah, like two this month, I think, and a couple next month, and then we're gonna hit the studio again to record some new music.
Now, is your music available anywhere? Do you have social media for it or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a video out on here on YouTube. It's Divergence NYC is the link, is the page, and we got a Facebook, under the same name, Divergence NYC.
Wow, I never see you promote it for some reason.
Yeah, I should promote it more. I kind of just, because I do have another Instagram where I was promoting music a lot, and then I kind of shifted my attention to the YouTube thing here. And
Mhm.
that's another thing. Like, I mean, like, I love what I do, but I'm not gonna lie. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disillusioned with the whole music thing and just not exactly over it. But I'm that's why this YouTube thing started, kind of, because I'm looking for something else to do.
Mhm.
Like, and something that I can really focus on and do with passion. Like, I do music with passion, but the passion's kind of gone. There's a lot of ins and outs and stuff that goes on behind the scenes that I'm kind of just done with. But it doesn't mean that I hate my band or what. I just want to make that clear. Like, I love you know what I'm
Don't throw yourself under the bus on the show,
yeah,
man. Don't do
exactly. Yeah, let me just back up for a second. I'm fucking done with this.
it. They're like, oh, he's quitting. That's it.
But no, but like, just certain things that surround the whole music scene is, I wish wasn't the case. But I love what I do, and when we get on stage or when we get in the studio, or even rehearsal, it really all comes back, and I know why I'm doing this, and I'm very passionate about that too. But yeah, I should promote it a lot more on the page, but I wanted to keep it more of just a YouTube thing. I didn't want to like sort of start splitting it, because there's a lot of people who do this that are not into death metal, and I kind of don't want to push anybody away. But I
Mhm.
guess I shouldn't care about that. Like, I'm just pouring myself out into that Instagram as well.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I just think it gives another layer, I think, to you, right? So and again, like we've never talked about it before, but I've seen it. I've seen you like I think you wrote it somewhere and you had mentioned it in passing or something like that. So that's why I knew I wanted to kind of talk about it because it does interest me just being someone who was, really heavy into shows and that scene for so long, at least the hardcore scene. Like I didn't get too far into the metal. Like, I mean, obviously I know some of the main stuff, but deep into it, not too much when it got really, really into that death metal stuff. I mean, right now, are you just screaming at this point? Like, what's the vocals sound like for this band here?
Yeah, it's all just like low growls, gutturals, mostly like sort of lows, mids, and high screams, and that's it. It's just like madness. There's no singing, there's no rapping, there's just insanity and total annihilation.
And then when you get home, you said, "Shit, I was gonna record tonight, but my voice is gone, so I guess I have to wait a couple days."
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I kind of control it pretty well that I don't lose my voice, but at times, I don't warm up and I forget to do certain techniques, and then I blow my voice. So, but usually rehearsals on Tuesdays, so by Saturday I'm pretty good. I should be fine.
Mhm, mhm. That's cool, man. I'm glad we were able to kind of touch upon that because, again, it was just something I was curious about. So,
Oh, it's a
um,
really important part of my life. Don't get it twisted. Like, it's a large part of my life. Like, every week, it's religiously, rehearsal, going to rehearsal, getting tight at what we do, new songs, learning new songs, and just really really focusing on it. Even though it's stagnant right now, especially with the pandemic. We're still feeling horrible effects from what that did to the club scene. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Show scene got destroyed, and it's really tough, especially for lower tier bands, to try to make ends meet and make this make sense, to keep pursuing.
mhm. Yeah, I
But
was actually gonna ask about the pandemic and what it did to you guys. Did it obviously put you on hold for a while, I'm
yeah,
assuming?
sure, yeah, like over a year, like maybe 2 years, we didn't hit the stage, and it was pretty crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it was still, every week we could try to go to rehearsal, even if it wasn't at the spot. We try to meet up somewhere else if we can, at somebody's house, if we could just do, like, no drum rehearsal or whatever. But it
Mhm,
was pretty tough. Yeah, it really stopped the show scene, and we weren't sure where it was going to go, because it's like, I'm down to just record music and put it out. But the shows really are one of the biggest parts of why I do this, because that's where you feel the real energy, man. And it's intense. I love live shows. It's a different energy, and an energy I can't really explain.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you said, it almost was like a perfect storm in a sense. Is like I'm assuming that when that kind of all happened, like that kind of maybe triggered you to start the channel, right? Because if you kind of take the timeline, it almost feels that like maybe your creativity was like it was dying without the
Yeah.
band, and you were like, shit, I need an outlet here. And that's kind of like similar to what happened with me. So I don't know if that's kind of where this all finally stated, like, all right, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah, in a way, it did. But what the pandemic did do for me, or the the lockdown, was I was watching a lot more classic horror and getting reconnected to it. Even though I had a bit of a collection already, but I like started watching a lot of Shutter movies and stuff on Prime Video and stuff that I don't own, and I'm like, oh my god, like looking into if this is available to buy, and then I started snowballing from there. And later on into the year of 2020, that's when I started watching the YouTube videos and started getting the idea of like, damn, I want to do this. This looks really cool. Like I could sit here and talk about this for hours,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nobody in my life that's like me, so I need to
Exactly. Well, that's what's nice about this, man, because honestly, like you see the people that are commenting on your channel and all this other junk and joining us right now in the lives. Like, I mean, these are all pretty like-minded people where sometimes when you feel like you're one of nobody, like in your inner circle, and all of a sudden you see this from all over the world, and you're like, all right, there's a lot of me out there. This is
Oh
a
yeah,
nice social, outlet.
crazy man. And yeah, there's a lot more than I expected for sure, but it's still like a niche thing. It's crazy.
Mhm, for sure. Now, anything like somebody asked in the chat, did we get anything today from Vinegar Syndrome? Did you check that out at all? Their drop today?
Yes, I did. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Now, is there anything that you grabbed? Or are you going to kind of wait it out and see what happens with the numbers and all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I grabbed that zombie Avon box set.
You did. Okay.
Absolutely. Without the t-shirt, because there's like bundles with t-shirts.
Oh, okay. That was an added thing.
Yeah, like you could get just the box set, or like a box set with a t-shirt. It's like a $20 upcharge for the shirt, which is not so bad, but I just went for just a box set.
Now, are you just a huge zombie fan? Are you a comic book fan? Are you both? So I
Oh,
mean, does this new line really intrigues you and is really one that you're probably going to be like, "Oh, well, I got to add
well,
this to my new collecting routine."
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have some collected editions. Like I have a bunch of like Spider-Man comics from back in the 90s in like hardcover omnibuses. You know what I'm saying? Like these
Mhm.
giant collected editions. I have a pretty, not a huge collection, but I got some. And I kind of had to stop with that. I was like, let me choose what I'm gonna do.
Right.
I can't go everywhere. Like even the Waxwork records, like I'm all over the place. I got to focus on one thing to collect. But yeah, I do have some comics, and those particular editions though, those were released prior by Avon, and I missed out on those, and I was so pissed off when I found out about them. And then they did Maniac as well, and a couple of other movies as comic book editions, but they sold out really really fast. And now they're giving us a chance to own it again, basically through Vinegar Syndrome. I jumped all over it, man. Like I've been waiting for this. Like I had no idea Vinegar Syndrome was going to do this, and when they announced this back a few months ago, I lost my shit, man. I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna have a chance to get these editions again. And sure enough, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things that like I say now, again, it's catch 22. I'm like, you know what? I have comics. I have like, the old Lost Boys ones. I got some Friday the 13th ones. I've got some superhero ones from when I was a kid. It's not really something that I'm all into. Not that I don't like them. I think that they're cool, but it's just one of those things where it's, you got to be picky and choosy on what I'm collecting. So when I see this come out, I'm like, I have to stay away from this because it can get dangerous, right? Like if they start
Right.
releasing one a month and it's like $75 a pop, it's like, okay, let's just add this to the table, right? And
Yeah.
I personally stayed away from it. I know a lot of people that I think are going to really love this line, and maybe people that are actually when they go to Vinegar Syndrome and they're kind of like, I don't know if I want any of these movies. They just don't really feel for me. Well, now this could open up doors for them to be like, well, I'm going to start working on this line, which
Yeah,
again, I think is not a bad thing because if you collect all of them, it might be a pretty cool collection at the end of the day.
for sure.
I know it's going to happen. They're going to probably release like Lost Boys or some shit where I'm going to have to buy it, right? Like, so, I mean, they might pull one of those where I'm just like, I have no choice. I have to get it now. But you said that this company had done these before, which I had heard. Now, what other ones did they do in the idea of, hey, maybe these are what's going to get re-released next? Like you said, Maniac was one. Like,
Yeah. I think that might be the next one, honestly, because they did Maniac, and I'm not sure if they touched another movie. Honestly, I think it was just Maniac and Zombie that I saw that they've done, but I wasn't so deep into what they were doing. I just came across it one time, saw it was sold out, and was like,
right. Now, did they say how much this is limited to now on Vinegar Syndrome? Is this a limited piece?
yeah, it's 1,500 sets, and it's down to like 382 right now.
382 left?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it here. I would that this was released today, I think, right?
Yeah.
So
Hey.
if you're interested at all in the zombie like Vinegar Syndrome, I think this is their first release for this line, right? VSL or whatever it's called. VSP.
Yep. No, this is the Avon. What do you mean? The comics, right? It's not
yeah, but I mean they're also calling it VSP, like Vinegar Syndrome Publishing. Is this the first thing for that, or did they release something else under that banner?
This is the first release for it, for sure.
So I would jump on that, and I see Mel in here, and I would say if she didn't get it, she probably should, because I know she's a big comic book, fan. So this is probably something you should grab. Before we move on, I'm just going to go back up because I saw Gus was in here, and he had a nice enough super chat for us. Gus! Oh, thank you, man. I'm glad you joined us on the little Vinegar Syndrome stream I did with Dead Pit at noon. We love to try to do that. I don't think I'm going to be live every day this week talking about some stuff. Maybe I'll go once if I'm around, but they're going to be releasing every day, I think around noon, for a couple new titles for like $14 a piece. So it's one to kind of keep your eye on all month long. But before we move on, I got a super chat, so I want to throw this up for you guys again. Oh, a little Feldman action here.
Oh, Feldman? Nice.
That was Feldman now. Brent says they did the Beyond. That's, dude, people would go nuts for that.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's right. That's right. So I feel like they were doing the Blue Underground releases. Like it felt like they were like going through I guess House by the Cemetery would have been another one they might have done.
Oh yeah, so that would be great, huh? Like for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm down for getting all those sets. Like I'm already all in. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that's going to definitely be something a lot of people can. I think it's a cool idea. I think it really is. I just get nervous that I don't want Vinegar Syndrome to just get too big for their britches, and people be like, "All right, I can't keep doing this."
I agree too. It's a slippery slope with that for sure.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm nervous for, because they're just doing such a great job. It's almost like they can't miss right now, and that's kind of a scary place to be. I feel like in any aspect of life is to feel like you're way up here, and because the only way to go at that point is down. So
yeah, it's like where Scream Factory was at some point.
Exactly. That's kind of we can talk about. I mean, were you there from the beginning, or was that during your time off from kind of collecting?
No, I was there, and I didn't get a lot in the beginning, but I have some. I remember buying some Scream Factories from like FYE in 2013, 2014. And I started to like kind of follow them, and I started doing pre-orders. So I have like Shocker. I got like a poster for Shocker. I pre-ordered a lot of stuff from that era. I think that was like 2015, 2016, around that era. And I did take a break from at that point. Like I think after probably the Child's Play release, I really wasn't what was being put out, but I missed out on a lot of good stuff, like that Halloween box. Totally missed out on that. I had no idea that it even existed until like, I don't know, 3 years ago or something.
Wow. I can't even believe it's as old as it is, to be honest. Like that's how much time to me has just like flown by. Like being a collector for so long, I look at that Halloween box and I think that was kind of like recent, but it's really been when did that come out? 2013 or something like that?
I think it was like 2013. Mm-hmm.
That's 10 years ago, man. That feels like it was by like probably 5.
It's crazy.
It's it's absolutely nuts. Now, what is your current favorite? Because I see you're still buying a lot of physical media. What's your big one right now? Is it Vinegar Syndrome? Are you into a more second sight? Like, what are you loving right now when it comes to the horror stuff?
Honestly, like I would have told you like Vinegar Syndrome like maybe a month or so ago, but now Arrow is like
Mm.
really, really. Even though I love Arrow, I've always loved Arrow, but to me, I think the top have always been like kind of Arrow and I don't know. I don't want to say Scream Factory because Vinegar Syndrome is something that I got into kind of recently. Like I've known about Arrow for years. I got the Killer Clowns release. I have the House release, the double set, the House two story.
Yep.
That's I've known Arrow since back then. I just wasn't like religiously collecting them, but those editions like really blew me away. But yeah, I'd say right now probably Arrow and Vinegar Syndrome are very close second, and then Second Sight like right after that.
I totally agree. I think that they're probably the top three. I think at one point it was Arrow and Scream Factory to me were like the top dogs, could do no wrong. But and Scream Factory even ahead of Arrow. Arrow, I think, has recently really kicked things up when they started doing those chunky boxes and all that other stuff, and really putting a lot of effort into even smaller films, giving them like the nice upgrade. I still praise them for doing that Phantom of the Mall in that nice big box because there's no reason that movie ever should have got that love, and I'm just so glad that it did. You know.
Oh my god, I agree, but I love it, man. I love it. And that was a blind buy for me. I had no idea this movie existed. There's a lot of stuff that I missed out on, even though I came up in this time back in the 80s for sure. Like there's a lot of things that I never heard of or I never came across, and like I was exposed to a lot of movies through like HBO and then tapes my father would bring home. So yeah, like I never knew about Phantom of the Mall. I mean, I don't know how big it was back in the 80s. I mean,
no, I think it was a big bomb, to be honest with you. But it's like one of those movies that to me, it's just like I'm really big into like 80s cheesy slashers and stuff like that. Like almost like kind of the more wacky, the better. Not wacky like low budget, but like, dude, you got a guy in a mall, you know, in the 80s that's killing people. Like it's just to me, it's just like it's like a win-win, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Yeah, I was definitely very interested in it when I first saw it, and I jumped all over it, and it sold out so fast. So yeah, I'm happy to get that for sure.
Now, did you end up grabbing anything yet from the Arrow announcements yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely.
You did. You snagged. So I snagged the 4K Psycho set, and I snagged Carlito's Way. That's the two that I grabbed up. I think you mentioned you might have been in Carlito's got Carlito's Way too. Is that you that said that?
Yeah, I said I got both of them.
Okay, yeah. So those were musts for me, especially because the Carlito's Way is my my personal favorite Pacino movie. That's mine. It's always been.
It's great. Hell yeah, I love it so much.
And both editions look so nice, but I'm just a big fan of that OG art. So
yeah, I agree. I hate doing things like this. It just makes no sense. But you know, I try not to double dip like this. It's really tough. You know, and I again, just like you say, Carlito's Way is very, you know, special to you as a film, like it is to me as well, man. I have a lot of memories watching that a lot growing up, and I just love that movie so much. Took place in New York, blah blah blah. You know, all that just means certain things, certain parts of that movie mean a lot to me. The neighborhoods they shot in, I used to be around those neighborhoods a lot too. Yeah, it's a really cool. I mean, I was blown away to see that Arrow was releasing that. Like I'm happy about this because this is not. I like that they're re-releasing a lot of this stuff in 4K because I missed out on the Blu-rays. But I don't think they've done this in the past. Is this a first-time release for them as far as?
Yeah, it is.
This is amazing. I was so blown away. And then I love new commissioned artwork. I was like, I love the way that book looks with the pool table and the glass.
That is a really nice. That is the best part of that book. That whole thing is I saw that book and I was like, man, that's so rad.
Fantastic right there. And I don't think you get that in the original artwork release, which it is what it is. But again, I'm split. I'm like, all right, fine, both.
So you got both?
Yes.
That is so funny. I did like that pool table picture. I like that a lot. And then I knew I had to jump on it because if I wanted that OGR, it was an Arrow exclusive on the site. So I was like, you know what? This thing might sell out, so I got to get it now. But yeah, that you got both. That's cool. That'll be a cool video to kind of go through each one and just show the differences between the two.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Let me see. We got Metal Maniac is in the house and said he loves discovering new horror movies. And yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I feel like now I just feel a lot of them are few and far in between for me. And to be honest, there's a lot of movies that I own that I may have watched once on DVD, and then when they get re-released on Blu-ray, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll give it another chance. I'll check it out, and it gives a new life for me. So I agree with the same thing. I love finding if I can find new stuff that I never knew existed that is really good from back in that day, 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever. I go nuts.
Yeah, I agree, man. And you introduced me to a few new ones that I've never heard of. One in particular, Night Visitor. I picked that
Oh
up
yeah.
from your recommendation, and I
It's a
loved it.
cool movie, man, right? But that was one that I just kind of found off the whim too recently. That wasn't one I grew up with. I think I was on like Ronin Flick's site and I saw the cover and I was like, that's a pretty cool looking cover. And then I looked up the movie and I was like, this is I think it was like 89 or maybe 90 or something horror. So I bought it and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know how I missed this for so long. And again, I just like that style, that bunch of kids and in a neighborhood and their neighbor and they think that he might be the satanist or whatever, and I just thought that was a really really cool movie, and I'm glad that you snagged it.
And what's this woman's name? Gene Simmons' wife. I forget her name.
Yeah, I forget too, but she was the neighbor. Yeah.
My God, serious eye candy. I loved it. Awesome. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, I'm all in.
She's hitting on the kid next door and stuff. That is funny. Let me see. We got
Phantom of the Mall, actually, too, right? Derek Rydell, yeah.
He was, and that was what's so weird is like I got that not too long before or after I got the Phantom of the Mall, and I was like, wow, this dude, like the only two movies he was like really in is like I got at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, right?
It is very weird, very weird. All right, we got a lot of stuff coming to the show. Let me try to catch up really quick. Horror Clayton says Arrow's making a comeback. Jesse asked, do I like Ghost in the Machine? I remember the movie, but I honestly don't think I've ever seen it nor own it. Do you remember the Ghost in the Machine from '92?
Yeah, I do recall that. I never owned it myself, though. I do remember them.
Yeah, let me see.
My brother might have had them. Yeah, that's why.
They should have a deal where you can get an alternate slip separately. I mean, they could have done that for sure. Like Scream Factory does. Let me see. Seeing this episode of 70 feels like, man, right? Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Arrow's prices are like better than a lot of companies for what you're getting. Like $70 shipped. It was like 65, I think, plus like $4 shipping or something. I mean, that's wild compared to buying one Severin title the other night for like $55. Like, and you're getting for the Psycho set, you're getting 4 movies on 4K. It's just wild to me. And even like the Carlito set, I think was only like 45.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is
the ridiculous. Like I don't know. I didn't even touch that sale, by the way. I didn't touch Severin.
Severin's. It's a tough buy, man, because the movies are okay. They weren't great movies, but the price point was really high on it. Very high. Like 55 for, nothing fancy. It just was a 4K with a slipcover. Like it's pretty crazy.
It's like they're charging what I guess most companies, I don't want to say should be charging, but like, I guess a lot of the MSRPs are pretty high, and Severin seems, and Synapse too. Synapse is pretty expensive if you buy directly from Synapse.
Mm-hmm.
Very pricey as well. But yeah, I don't know. Arrow's pricing is very good. I like Arrow's pricing.
Yeah, I think it actually is pretty fair. I mean, even Scream Factories are a little bit higher than Arrows, and think about just what you're getting as far as like packaging alone and the care that's put in. Like, it's crazy. This is funny. Uncle Bill, Uncle Bill says Captain Horror, Captain B Plan is upset. There's another high-ranking member of the horror military around.
What did he say?
Do you watch Deadpan? You know Steve? They call him Captain B Plan. Yeah. So he doesn't like there's another captain of the horror military, in the YouTube space. They're gonna have to start a group like the horror military. 2 captains, or like the horror pirates or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds sick.
Back for Blood said he just got that Creep Show shirt as well.
Oh, sweet, man. Yeah, I love this movie. Oh my God, this movie is amazing to me.
Here's the answer we were looking for. Shannon Tweed.
Yes, that's who it is. Exactly. Oh my God.
Oh, look at everybody's thrown in there. Yeah, we must have sounded like idiots, I guess. I'll look at. Let me see what this Dave says. An 80s movie that I missed to release is Intruder. Yeah, man, I love Intruder. Have you seen that one?
What?
The Intruder from the 80s. It was a horror movie with Bruce
Oh,
Campbell.
yes, that's the one where in a grocery store.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, I love that movie, dude. Like, yes, I want to own that. I don't own that, but I watched it. I think it was on Prime Video or Shutter. I can't remember, man. I get them confused sometimes, but yeah, I
Yeah.
love it a lot.
It's a cool movie, man. Synapse put it out on Blu-ray. It's a really cool movie. Again, going back to the 80s, and it's like you can get a slasher movie in a grocery store. I'm all in. Like it's like it's
Oh,
wild.
it's like the struggle like in the beginning where they're fighting. I think Sam Raimi comes out and he gets punched by the guy like over that whole scene, bro. Oh my god, it's just it's gold, man. It's so good. And this guy from Evil Dead 2, I forget his name.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I love it. He passed away actually. I love that dude.
That movie's really cool because being in the grocery store, not only was it cool to like just the movie itself, but man, I rewatched that movie and all I do is look at all the shit on the shelves, like all the old school like food and stuff, and I'm like, oh, look at that, oh, I remember that, and like
I love it.
that's what you're gonna do the next time you watch Intruder is just look at all the cool shit like all over the shelves and at the grocery store and stuff.
I hope that's not out of print.
I don't know if it is. Synapse put it out. I know that much. It could be on Amazon still. Wow, I didn't realize this. So Wes said that Creepshow was the first one he saw as a kid. Creepshow 2 was the first Creepshow he saw as a kid. That's cool, man. Mine was Creepshow, but again, it was the same way I saw Fright Night. They did like a double feature on like a Saturday afternoon or something, and I caught them both in like the mid '90s, I think.
Yeah. Creepshow 2 is the first one I saw as well.
Was it really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We owned that tape, and Creepshow I saw because they would show it on Channel 11. It was Channel 11 WPIX where I live, and that was like the channel that showed a lot of horror movies. That was like I've seen a lot of horror movies on network TV at least. But Creepshow 2, we had the VHS tape. So spoiler, it's going to be on my Rad 9 list.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Kenny? Let me see. What's this? They just put out a killer book about Creepshow 2, like a content making of book. I did not know that.
Really? Oh man, how did I not know that? Jesus, please don't tell me that it's sold out already. Oh god.
He says buy it now. I think it must still be around. And then Horror Collector says 88 Films also put out Intruder with a slip, so that looks like it could be available.
Oh, nice. All right, yeah, I'll check. I'll look for it though. I spent too much money though. I'm done.
Dude, this week has been brutal because between Arrow, Severin, and Vinegar Syndrome, like,
yeah,
that was.
I think I'm gonna ignore the rest of the week for subscriber week. Like, I'm not even gonna not ignore it, but I don't think I'm buying anything. Like the whatever goes on sale, $14, whatever. I'm not even gonna bother. I'm good. I don't know. I can't.
Especially if you're getting those shirts and stuff. Those aren't cheap either.
Hell no.
Did you grab any of the Fright Rags Texas Chainsaw? Because I was like, I had them in my cart and I'm like, I want these, but I'm like, oh, I got all these sales coming up. Do I really want these right now?
I actually did. I did buy a shirt, but it was from High School Pizza. It was the Pee Wee Herman shirt with the clowns. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, was that the site I was just on? I was just on a site. Did they do the Pretty Woman one?
I'm not sure. I honestly, they did a Lydia one, like from Beetlejuice. And
yeah, I think that is the site. I was just on that because they did it's a Pretty Woman in the Pretty Woman logo, and then it had like Leatherface on it, and I was like, I had it in my cart like pretty much, dude, right before we went live. I was like gonna buy it, and I was like, no more spending.
Oh man, no, don't tell me that. Now I'm gonna go search that. Oh, dude, that's sick.
Dead Pit wants to know, question for you, dude.
What's up?
Would you wear a Creepshow 3 t-shirt?
No, absolutely. Absolutely not.
Suppose it was limited to 1,500. Would you still wear it? Would you not wear it still?
No, okay. Not at all. Not at all. No. My answer to that is I'll be wearing a Tales from the Dark Side, the movie shirt.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
That's Creepshow.
Here's a cool one we both can answer. David says, do you have a favorite Creepshow segment between 1 and 2?
Between 1 and 2, a favorite?
Like, out of all Creepshow on 1 and 2, what's your favorite segment?
I'd have to say the crate for sure.
Nice.
Man,
Man,
it's the one that scares me most.
I love that Fluffy.
Yeah, absolutely, hands
You
down.
know, I'm gonna try to think of something because my first thought is the raft, of course. I mean, but I feel like that's everybody's first thought is the raft. I would probably say, man, it's gotta be the raft, but I think very close second would probably be what is it called? Tied you over? Is that the one with Nielsen in it?
Something to tide you over.
That's probably my close second, I'd say.
That's a great one. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen is just amazing in that segment. Incredible.
Yeah, stalk that like button, guys. Definitely,
Yeah.
again, hit the like button. Throw a subscribe over to Captain Horror. His link is in the description box. If you're coming over here and you're not sub to this channel, subscribe as well. Make sure to like the stream. I threw this on here for the likes.
You have a problem with that?
Sweep the like button. And guys, keep throwing those questions because we're probably going to hang around another couple more minutes. I usually try to keep this about 60 minutes for sure. But yeah, people are putting in, they like the crate as well. Meteor shit.
And you know what? A lot of people cite, just like you said, they cite the raft. We're just talking about Creepshow 2. My favorite in that film seems to be everybody's least favorite, and that's the hitchhiker. I love that segment.
That got me as a kid. That freaked me out as a little kid.
Scared me so much, dude. Like the guy keeps coming back, looking more mangled every single time. It blew me away as a kid. And I'm like, the raft was scary. It definitely was, but that taking place at night on a dead road, on a highway, and it was effective for me as a child a lot.
Yeah, you know what? Talking about that, I'm always very big into nostalgia, memories. Like I love that stuff. If I can open my brain to something that I like right now, you just open my brain to something, from back in the day, and I just love when that happens. But man, how awesome was it as like a child where like you didn't know anything and things like Creepshow, like certain segments creeped you out, where when you think about it now, you're like, it was very basic. Like, why was I so petrified of it? But as a little kid, you're so innocent, you don't know any difference. So seeing the scene where this dude's getting hit by a car and keeps coming back, and like it's freaky, man, right? Because you don't know any different, and and all those things I think Creepshow did really well, like especially for kids. Like there were freaky scenes in that.
Yeah, I really loved it, and that just led into my love for like Tales from the Crypt on HBO. I was watching that a lot growing up too.
Yeah, sadly, I never had HBO growing up, and I know I missed a lot because even Justin from Movie Watch tells me all the time all the stuff he watched at HBO. I didn't get into Tales from the Crypt until it came to Fox, which was like I think in the late '90s or something like that.
It was the late '90s. Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah, that I grew up with HBO a lot. Yeah, and just VHS tapes. Yeah, a bunch of VHS tapes.
Yeah, VHS was the big one for me. Jesse asks, and this is gonna be tough, because again, I get a lot of these movies confused, these other anthologies, but this one I do love. Cat's Eye, favorite segment from Cat's Eye. Now, the one that I can really see, like a part of me is like, I'm thinking of it. I'm like, wait, is that Body Bags?
No, that's no. Cat's Eye is the one with the dwarf that's trying to take.
Yes, yeah. But what was other segments in that though? Was the smoking one where the guy was trying to quit.
Yes,
I love that. I love that
James
one.
Woods.
What is it?
James Woods is in that segment.
Yes. Where they're electrocuting the damn cat, like showing her how it works or whatever.
Yeah, like really, really over the top like methods. Yeah, it was awesome. That's an awesome movie. My favorite segment is the one with Drew Barrymore. That's my favorite one.
Do you know there's someone online that sells that dwarf? It's pretty rad.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, you can buy like a life-size prop or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sick.
But yeah, I really like that wood segment, and I can remember some scenes that were kind of freaky as a kid when he opened the closet or something. There was somebody behind the clothes. You could see his boots or something like that.
Yeah,
that was cool, man. That was very, very cool.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people giving Cat's Eye a bit. Yeah, Cat's Eye doesn't get enough love. I feel it's a really, really good anthology.
I'd love to see a new release of that. Like, I don't own that on any format. I've never owned it, and I've only seen it like maybe twice in my life, dude. Like when I was much younger. So yeah, I would love to own that.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, just talking about it, it's been a while since I've seen it. All I'm thinking in my head right now is, I think I'm gonna watch that tonight. I do, I do have it on Blu-ray. I think Warner Brothers put it out. If I'm correct, but yeah, it's that's a great one. And even Body Bags is a real cool anthology. And
Oh,
the
dude.
ones that really, the damn one with the hair, I always kind of like that one.
Yeah, I love that movie, man. I remember that when that first aired on Showtime, and I was like getting my VCR ready to record it. Like I remember when it first aired, I recorded it, and I would watch that tape so much, bro. I love Body Bags, man.
It's so cool. That was a real rare one and hard to find during the DVD days. I remember having the VHS and like never getting rid of it because I could not find that DVD for the life of me. And I finally found it. And then sure enough, 2 years later, it was finally released on Blu-ray, which, Body Bags was very sought after for a long time back in DVD era.
I don't know if you have the same DVD release. I'm pretty sure it's the only one, but the one that I got for Body Bags, actually, they cut out a lot of the gore scenes or all of the gore scenes, which I
In
could have
the original, in the DVD or in the Blu-ray?
in the DVD. Yeah, in the DVD.
Oh, I
And
must have it because I think there's only one. I think Artisan might have put it out, but that's the
yeah,
only one I think I have.
that's it. Yeah, they cut out the scene
Hmm.
when they show like Luke Skywalker's eye. I forget his name, man. Jesus, Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill. Like when he's getting the surgery, or when he gets into the accident and the glasses in his eye. They cut all that gore out. They cut all that out.
Oh, I did not know. I was today's years old when I knew that. That
And
is
I
crazy.
watched it. It had been a while since I watched it, and I was like, "There's something weird. What's going on? Something's different here." And then I realized it, and I was like, "I hate it." I was so pissed off. And then Scream Factory came to the rescue, bro. I
Right.
picked that up when it was brand new for sure.
Matt, what is this about? What has a yellow tint? Which movie are you talking about? I'm curious. Because not a 4K of Cat's Eye. No, there's none.
A yellow tin, you said?
He said the 4K has a yellow tint that looks pretty bad on comparison videos. I'm curious if he's talking about um Creep Show.
Oh yeah, I haven't bought Creep Show yet. I
I
haven't.
haven't either, and I'm on the fence about it. And I just watched the video today that kind of was leaning me towards maybe I do need this, but like a part of me is like, dude, you don't need this because the one you have is fine. The Blu-rays, yeah, like that's what I have, and I love that edition. They gave it all this like this love. It's got a nice hard box. I'm like, I don't need to have a little bit of a better picture. Like, that's not enough for me to buy it. And I
I
was gonna buy it today because I was listening to a video of a guy who's like a huge Creep Show guy, and he said he was very happy with it, and he thought for sure it was gonna look like shit, and it didn't. But I'm curious what Matt has said. I haven't seen a comparison video, so I don't know.
I know I'm gonna.
Oh, Cat's Eye 4K. Who did that?
Okay, really?
I didn't even know it had one. It must be overseas, maybe.
Yeah, probably because that there's nobody talking about that out here.
Bro, okay. Jesse, and I've been thinking about that damn scene, that damn segment with him playing the video game and and he wouldn't leave the arcade for like the last 2 years, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out where it was from. I thought it was like a Tales from the Dark Side episode. I thought maybe it was a Tales from the Crypt episode. I'm like, where is that segment? Where have you ever seen Nightmares?
No, I haven't actually.
It's an anthology, and I'm pretty sure Scream Factory put it out. But yes, so that's the one that Emilio Estevez is in it in one of the segments, and he's playing an arcade game, and he's so obsessed with it. He won't leave the store and stuff, and he hides until like the arcade closes so he can continue to play it. And it's like it's a real cool segment. And I've been thinking about that recently, and I could not for the life of me figure out which anthology this was on. I thought maybe it was a TV show. I was like freaking out over it, but
Oh my
thank
god,
you.
somebody put that. Oh,
I'm pretty sure Scream Factory did. I think.
oh it's probably then.
Second Sight did Cat's Eye in 4K. That totally passed me by. I would have been
Oh,
all over that.
that must be like an older release. I just got onto Second Sight, so yeah.
I mean, I've been into Second Sight for a long time, and I don't remember Cat's Eye. I must have just missed it because I mean, I have the Dawn of the Dead 4K. I was able to get that big box. I mean, I have Flight of the Navigator. I mean,
I missed
so
that.
I've been around there for a while. That is interesting. You're right, Uncle Bill. That's another one. Nightmares was so hard to find on DVD back in the day. And that was another one I kind of found towards the tail end of like my DVD collecting. I think it must have been when Blu-rays was starting to get hot, and I was like, finally, I have it. And then, sure enough, a couple of years later, it was released on Blu-ray.
Uncle Bill called them those old turds, man. Jesus.
I love it though. I love it. I love talking about all this old stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love it.
Let me see. Scream Time. Do you know that one? I don't know that one.
Screen Time? No.
Scream Time is an anthology. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
But I would know more because anthologies are really cool. So yeah, I'm down to look that up for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, someone asks you, and I skipped over this. I'm going to find it again. Dallas asks, Captain Horror, are you Team Demon Knight or Team Bordello of Blood?
Demon Knight.
I am too. I'm Demon Knight all the
Sure.
way. Do you remember, and again, I don't know exactly how old you are, but do you remember how big of a deal Demon Knight was when it came to theaters? I remember
deal too. Like I remember having the soundtrack, and it was just they pushed that movie hard. Yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah, I remember that for sure.
it was insane, and I remember it was like one of the first rated R movies I saw in the theater. Like not rated R horror movies that I like went. I remember my friend's dad like dropped us off to go see Demon Knight or whatever. He got us tickets and dropped us off. And I remember being like, this is like the best movie ever, because I just wasn't used to anything else when it came to like going to the movies and seeing horror movies. Like that was one of the first that I can recall. I mean, I saw Scream and stuff like that, but Demon Knight was one that I just kind of felt was like over the top, because that was always like promoted to be like super scary and gory and stuff like that. And with the soundtrack being so hot, I always was team Demon Knight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bordello of Blood is a fun movie, but it doesn't hit like Demon Knight does.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Team Bordellos right there.
Yeah, and I missed out on both those releases, by the way. So unfortunately.
Oh, you did? I you know what though? I think that if Scream Factory was smart, again, who knows if they even own that anymore? They would just put out a chunky double pack and just on like 4K or something. And
I would love that. I would love that.
Because I don't think what those will sell that great individually as if they would have had it just like as a 2-pack or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Or like a nice one too, not like a standard release with both like give them nice editions, put a box over each, you can call it like the Tales from the Crypt collection or whatever. Like that would be cool.
Yeah, I would love that, but I mean, at this point, I'm really excited to see what other titles Scream Factory used to have that like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow's going to release. Like I love this. I love this new development of like all these titles they used to do or had now are being put out by companies I love even more. So
I agree.
Out on a lot of them, so I'm not double dipping in many cases. Like that Psycho set. All right, now I am actually. I bought Psycho 2 and 3. The last Scream Factory Shocktober sale, I ended up picking those up because I said, you know what, I'm just gonna get them. I don't care about the slip covers anymore. That's why I've avoided getting a lot of Scream Factory, because I missed out on the slips, and I'm like, what? I'm just gonna start buying stuff. But now I kind of regret it because it's like, damn, now the set's coming out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm in the camp where it's like every time they release like an upgrade, I get annoyed because I had all the collector's editions. So I'm like, oh, here we go again. Going from DVD to Blu-ray now to it's just kind of the name of the game. But I always do say, for people who weren't there from the beginning collecting everything, this is actually good for you guys, because not everybody was getting them all, right? So for people like you, and I know Ken's the same way, like this is your first time where you can start building a Scream Factory collection, just once over, right?
Yeah, I love it. I'm not a fan of their alternate slipcovers. Like I don't know what to do with those things. I don't know.
I know, like pay more and you get a slipcover that you can like put on someday if you want to.
And you know what? I'm a sucker for these damn bundles. I got bundles with pins, and I've done that. I'm kind of over it. But I'm not sure whether I should go for the Creepshow bundle with the pin set or just get the damn 4K alone. Like, I'm not sure what. Yeah, you get into that game, and it's like, oh man, now I gotta let it go, but I can't not let that go. It's a weird collector thing.
I agree. I mean, I was looking at the bundles today because I was on the fence about Creepshow, and then after I watched someone's review, I was like, you know what, maybe I'll get it. And to be honest, my favorite part of the whole bundle that they did was that second poster is beautiful. That one that goes sideways.
Yes, and I think it's a bigger size. It's like poster size.
I think it's 24 by 36, which is very rare for them to do that. And I was like, you know what? Like a part of me almost wants to get this because I'm like, man, I love that poster.
It's great. It's great artwork. Yeah, the colors, everything about it is fantastic.
I mean, unless there's anybody watching this now or on the replay that has that poster that says, I don't want this thing, just hit me up and we'll make a deal or something like that. Because I really thought that was a nice poster.
Yeah, they'll let that go for sure.
Couple questions coming through. I'm sorry if I keep missing people's stuff here, but I'm glad you guys are being so interactive for sure. People are talking about the Willies. Any memories of the Willies?
I've heard of that movie, but I don't have any memories watching that as a kid. That passed me by. So yeah.
I have a big memory with the Willies, actually. And if you guys want to know more about that movie, you go check out Planet CHH's channel because him and I and Ken from Mid Little Media actually did a big deep dive and retrospective on the Willies a couple months ago. So it's definitely one to go back and check out because that was a big movie for me as a kid. And if you want to hear my story on it, I would go check out that video on Planet CHH's channel.
Nice.
Do you have favorite standalone horror movie from the 80s?
Favorite standalone? Wow. I'd say it's a tough one because everything I'm thinking about has like sequels.
True.
Yeah, I'd say man, I want to say Reanimator, but that has sequels. Like,
it's tough, man. Like I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, like Lost Boys, but then I'm like, oh shit, but they have sequels now.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one because my favorites have sequels or they're part of like a franchise or something. That's a good one because I love. I didn't grow up with The Burning, but
Burning's good. Yeah, it's a great one.
Like a discovery for me, like within the past like maybe 7-8 years.
Well, let me ask you this, man. Talking about that, like, what are a couple of your favorites when it comes to the horror genre? I don't know if I've ever found that out. Like, what are some of your absolute favorites?
Well, Demons comes to mind. Demons for sure. Demons I was exposed to very young, man. Like that VHS tape ended up in my house, and I was just like, "What is this?" And it didn't have any covers too. Like when the tapes that my father would bring home were basically they were stolen tapes. People were just stolen VHS. Like I don't know if guys were robbing like mom and pop shops. Sometimes I would get VHS tapes with Blockbuster labels on them. But
so where was your dad getting these? Was he taking them?
No.
It's like, oh, I got some new horror today. It's like, oh, like he just took them off the shelf or whatever.
No, so this is how it went down. So I grew up in a hood area. There's a lot of people trying to sell you stolen goods. It's just that's how the area was. My father had an ice cream business when I was growing up. So he had like a bunch of selling ice cream around the neighborhood. And at the garage where he had, like the depot or whatever, people would come to him with a bunch of stuff to sell. So I think there was one particular guy or maybe a couple of guys that would literally come with like garbage bags full of tapes or maybe just other bags, like book bags, and they would have VHS tapes to sell. Back then, VHS tapes were very expensive. I'm sure you know. Mm-hmm. They were like $50 to $100 probably. So that was like a big deal to get like a couple of tapes for like $10 each. No covers. I had no slips on it. So a lot of the tapes that I grew up with, I never had the original cover art slip, but we had the original tapes, and Demons was one of them, man. And I'll never forget watching that. Like it was real intense. That was my introduction to Italian horror before I knew what Italian horror was, And then as I got older and I saw more movies with the dubbing and the dialogue dubbing, I was like, whoa, that's like Demons. What the hell's going on here? And I was already used to that. So then it kind of like drew me more into Italian horror, definitely. But yeah, Demons comes to mind as one of like a standout for me. Yeah.
Now, fan of the sequel as well?
No, I love the sequel. Yeah, the sequel is fantastic. It's like the same movie all over again, but I love it.
Now, you guys kind of heard it here first, so keep this rumor going that his father would trade ice cream for horror movies. I mean, that's pretty awesome, dude. Like he built a whole horror VHS collection, and he would just trade them ice cream cones for. I love it, man. He was like, what a great business. Giving these guys a little bit of ice cream. They're giving me movies. Yeah, you
Remember the
did that.
WW wrestling bars?
Of course.
Oh my god, that was like gold. I would eat a lot of those. He would get
So
pissed
you,
off.
so you had those by like the pound at the house there?
Yeah, well, yeah, he'd bring like a box home because we love those, or
Dude.
yeah, I would dig inside the freezer when the truck would come around to the apartment, and I'll just take a bunch of ice cream and stuff.
So you were the kid that everybody was jealous over that just like you didn't stand in line, you kind of went in the back and then just like grabbed the box and like left. They're like, what is this guy doing?
I say hello to everybody out the window, like, yo, what's up? What's up? You want some?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was good. I was very popular in the neighborhood because of that.
I bet.
Oh, that's the ice cream man's son. Yes. Sure.
That is awesome, man. And the thing was too, I mean, I don't know how it is now, but man, back in when we were a kid, like you'd see those trucks come around and they would be like flooded with kids. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Still like that. Still like that. Mr. Softy has the market cornered out here though. Like before, it was like a bunch of different trucks, and it was different back in the day. It was like the Wild West. You could get anybody could jump in an ice cream truck and go anywhere. And there's a lot of drama stories too. My God, I can go up. Crazy. Yeah, there's so many crazy drama stories in the ice cream truck business in Brooklyn and Queens. But anyway, that's besides the point. But now
was
Mr.
it-
Softy, like they have the market cornered here. Like all you see is Mr. Softy trucks, and they still come around, like for sure.
that's funny. So you still live there, I take it, roughly, like in that area, General?
Yeah, yeah. I live where I grew up, basically. Like now I'm in Queens, but I grew up in Brooklyn mainly.
That's funny because I have a friend down there that I think was in Brooklyn and he moved to Queens as well.
Yeah, it's very close to each other. Like Brooklyn and Queens are just like the borderline is not. They're very like two boroughs. Like I'm always constantly between both. Like my mother lives in Brooklyn and I live in Queens, and I'm constantly going to visit her. I work in Queens, so.
Well, actually, what's funny is, do you ever hit up like any of those horror conventions in Jersey?
You know what, bro? I've never been to a con in my life, and I'm
Huh.
dying to go to one. I'm dying to go to one, and I know you said you might go to one in Jersey coming up soon, right? If I'm not
I would
mistaken.
love to go in August. It's just there's so much going on. I just don't know if I can make it. But dude, like literally my buddy, I pick him up on the way every single time we go down there. So like it's one of those things, like I'll definitely let you know next time we do it because I'll pick him up or he'll meet me, like he'll take a train to the archive
Okay.
and we'll meet there, and then I'll drive him from there to Jersey, and then we on the way back we do the same thing. Or I bring him to a train station, and then he just takes it the rest of the way to back to Brooklyn or Queens or whatever.
Okay. All right.
So it's kind of like our routine, and then we end up going down to Jersey and meeting up with a bunch of other people, and then we just spend the weekend there. But I'm always going. I used to actually drive to Queens to get him,
Wow.
but then now the archive thing is going on. I'm like, dude, why don't we just meet there so we can shop first?
Yeah, that's a
Then
good
we'll
idea.
head out. So he would just hop on a train and meet me there or whatever. But it's good. I mean, you're right there, like
Yeah,
to get
I
to
am.
those conventions,
Yeah, I'm very close to Jersey. I'll be there like really fast.
So now that's cool. That's good to know because I'm hoping next year we're looking to do a Rad Pack reunion in Jersey at a convention next year. So
That'd be awesome. And I would
you gotta come, man.
I would so be there. I'm
Oh, hell
there.
yeah. Hell yeah, man. No, that's exciting to know that I totally forgot that you're basically right there. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of that, well, I just want to still touch upon the ice cream truck thing for a second here.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because there was one, I was with my son and we were at a playground and one pulled up and he's like, of course he wanted some. Bro, it's like they're doing like, Venmo now and shit, right? So
Yeah.
each bar was $10. Like, think about that. $10 a bar.
What?
Where I was. Like the bars, like he got something with like a gumball eyes or whatever, like the turtle bars and stuff like that. They were $10 each, dude, unless this guy was just like killing me. Everything
Wow.
said $10,
That's
dude.
ridiculous. What? $10
Yeah.
a bar? That's insane. I mean,
It's-
now prices are higher from back
Of course.
but no way. Not even out here in New York is there like a $10 bar. That's insane. Wow.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know how much like a lemonade cost or anything like that, but like the bars themselves, that like the ones that are planted on the side of the truck or whatever. Yeah, dude. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this guy just made, like, everybody that was there at the park like went up and getting the stuff, and I had to pay him through Venmo, all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, this dude just made $200 like right in here at this one stop.
He robbed everybody there.
He He's like changing the prices like when he pulls up or whatever.
Crazy. Not even in the city. Even though I don't really go to Manhattan much anymore, I haven't been there in a long time. But ice cream trucks out there definitely upcharge for their products. But $10 for a bar, I've never heard of that in my life. No way.
It was wild, man. And I'm thinking maybe, I mean, who knows? I don't see a lot of trucks around here. So, I mean, maybe he figures like, hey, if they want this, is the only way that, the only place to get there. There's no competition,
That's another thing. He feels like he can take advantage, and that's robbery, big time, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. No way.
so that's not everywhere. Then you're telling me?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm like shocked that you told me that just now. It's like
you're ready to start the truck up or something. You're ready to go all twisted metal over there, and you're like starting the truck and starting right $10 a bar on there.
That's great.
This is a good question. Graham's life. I'd have to say Tim Curry. Personally, I think Skarsgård did great. I think that's it has that Pennywise had a great look, but for me, I would say Curry because Curry still seemed like a real dude with clown makeup on that is more realistic to me. Like he would still seem like a guy that would try to get your kids to come take a ride with him or whatever. Like he just had that like more look. That's just me. But I think Skarsgård was a great Pennywise.
Oh, he was for sure. But for me, it's Tim Curry all the way. Yeah. I have memories of watching that when it first aired too. I stayed up late and went to school very tired because of that. I'll never forget that.
Early Grace says he just subscribed to Captain Horror.
I was just about to say that. Thank you so much, Early Grace. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's awesome, man. You rock. You rock.
Piz is here. What's up, brother? He says, we didn't have an ice cream truck in the neighborhood. We had a snow cone truck. It was nice. Doggy dog. Remember the snow cone maker you could buy with like Snoopy on it? Do they still make that?
I had that.
Did you really? Did it work? I never had it. Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah,
everyone always wanted
it like a couple of times, but we made it work.
That is so funny. Snow cone. I like the snow cones. They were kind of cool, but like now when you think about it, I just remember it being so messy. Like towards the end, it would like the shit would be dripping like everywhere. Yeah, you got like purple going down your arm and stuff. Let me see. Yeah, Piz says to get yourself to a convention. We're gonna get him there. Let me see. Let's see. Now everybody's talking ice cream, man.
Nice.
He's saying $10. That's ballpark ice cream prices.
Wow. If that's the norm now, that's insane. Like, I mean, I bought an ice cream from a truck not that long ago, and I bought like a cone with sprinkles. They charged me about like $4, I think it was $4 or $5, like $5. So they were like charging like double. Obviously, where at that park you were at. That's insane. Then, and if he's the only one in the neighborhood, he feels like he can get away with it, I guess, and most parents are not going to question because parents, the kids, they want the ice cream. So it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Do you know what would have happened if I would have told him, no, you ain't getting any? It would have been, I would have rather just paid the $20 or $10 or whatever, like to just be like, all right, take it. Let's go. Fachi Cinema's in the house. What's up, dude? What's popping, man? Let me see. Matt says we need someone to start doing 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. time slots doing live streams. Dude, it is funny because it's like, honestly, dude, the later I go, the more people show. It's crazy. Like right now we have like 70 people in here. It's where we are, it's like 11:30.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, guys. So again, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't, make sure to go subscribe over there to Mr. Captain Horror. We went overtime, but we're having good conversation right now.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. I was like agonizing, like thinking only like 10 people are going to tune in. Like,
come on. No? Juice says he likes the character ice cream bars. Yeah, I always love that. I'm obviously the wrestling ones were my go-to.
I definitely love the character ice cream ones too. Like Sonic was one of my favorite ones. Even though they all taste the same, they didn't have a distinguishing taste between each other. But I definitely was down for the character ices. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I just reached over. I had this displayed over my shelf. Look at this, dude. What a perfect timing. Does this bring back any memories for you?
What is that? My computer is like way behind. What are you showing? I can't.
I'm showing a Ninja Turtles ice cream bar.
Oh my God.
You know this?
Sick. Yes, yes. Oh my, yeah. My thing is so. My thing's so behind.
It's all good. You sound fine. You're not skipping or anything like that.
All right.
Finn Friending says, yeah, I know she's a big fan of Skarsgård. Yeah, he was a good Pennywise. Cobwebs in the house. Go check out this dude. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? I love his channel. He has some great content, man.
He does.
I gotta comment more to let him know I'm watching, but I'm watching, brother. Trust me.
It's tough, man. Sometimes, like I feel bad. I say this all the time because I try to catch up on everybody's stuff. But when you're a creator yourself, it gets harder to watch other people's stuff because you're worrying about like editing, getting your stuff out. And with my job, like I literally have zero downtime. So my only time to catch people's videos are like my drive to and from work. And it just gets hard, and I feel bad because even when I watch videos, for me to comment's hard because I'm literally driving. So
Exactly.
it's tough sometimes.
I do that too. I watch videos while I'm driving.
That's the only way I can do it.
Or I listen to them at least. I let the audio play. My
Dallas
eyes are, I promise.
Dallas Jones had a half melted Tweety Bird with a gumball eye for $12.99. Exactly.
Yo, Tweety Bird was a hot seller.
It was a good one.
That was a hot seller. Tweety, oh, big time, man. Oh man.
Dude, you should start a new series and have like the Tales from the Crypt logo and have it just say Tales from the Truck, and like it's all these ice cream stories. Ice cream stories.
Heard it here first. Heard it here first. That's a great idea.
That's great, right? And then like the logo can be like the same logo, but it's white, like melted ice. It can be like a blue or whatever. That'd be sick, dude.
That is so sick. Yeah, I got to get in touch with my graphic designer people for sure.
Witch Hunter is making us feel super old, man. I knew we were a little bit older than most of the people doing YouTube here in this community, but he goes, "Who remembers getting milk delivered from the milkman each week?" I never had a milkman here. I never had one. I don't know if he did.
I never had that either. My mom, she talks about that. That was before my time. My brothers, I have older brothers, so they remember that, but not me. I don't know.
Let me see. Yeah, Cobweb says he's another guilty in YouTube Drive. What? Oh yeah, that's right. Have the Cold Chamber Loco ice cream pull up. Remember that? Did you ever remember that?
Cold Chamber?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They had the video for Loco, and the guy he was in the ice cream truck.
Oh, Loco. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That would be sick.
That is classic, man. Dude, this is so fun, man. Like, this is why I like doing these because, like, honestly, when you came on this thing, like, who would have ever thought that you'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about horror, ice cream trucks, and like shit just kind of flows, in the way it's supposed to go.
I love this, man. This is awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity for this, brother. Thank you, man.
No, well, I mean, guys, it's all you that are in the chat that made this all work. Like, again, I knew I wanted to get to know him a little bit more about his channel, introduce him to you guys, and get some more eyeballs on his stuff because, like I said, like aesthetically, his stuff looks great. I mean, he's got a great personality. He's very, energetic and a lot of charisma. And obviously, being a front man of a band, you have to. And, I just wanted more people to kind of check his stuff out because he's doing a great job over there. And the chat being so lively and you guys hanging in there and coming up with these questions and stuff, like really just keeps these kind of shows flowing in weird directions. And I think it just went great.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm loving everybody in the chat right now. I'm seeing people subbing. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. That means so much to me. And I'm gonna try my best. Like I was gonna mention this. Like I saw Mel's video recently on the restaurant thing, and she was explaining how I'm kind of struggling to find something unique to do to stand out from the crowd. And I'm right there with her, man. I'm trying my best, like really trying to think of what can I do differently. Like I love doing what I do, even though it seems like kind of everybody's doing it, but I try to make it a little different. I try to make it a little more entertaining for people if I can. If I try as much as I can. But I'm really struggling to try to find something unique to do to draw more people in. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that, like, I feel her pain on that one because it's like, it's hard to stand out in this community. But at the same time, I love the videos that I do. Like, I love watching those types of videos. Boxing showcases. I could watch that shit all day, dude. Like, I love that. I love seeing the excitement on collectors' faces or just hearing their excitement in their voices of, like, this new release that they got and what's out now, what's new, and what I missed out on. Maybe I can get on eBay later. Stuff like that,
No, those are always fun videos to do, no doubt. And I know like she talks about that with us all the time. And I think it's just one of those things, kind of like how it went in this chat. Like something's just gonna happen that's gonna click. Like for instance, like I said, like I just said, oh, Tales from the Truck, new series. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like I mean, people would probably want to listen to that kind of stuff, like these weird stories or whatever about like that, because it's bringing it back to like the 90s or probably whenever it was. Like it all
Yeah,
kinds of worked. And I think as well, I think maybe doing a little bit more of a series with like the shirts, because nobody's doing that. And
yeah,
obviously they would love to see like, man, some of these companies that people know online, a lot of people don't know them. So all of a sudden you're getting something from High School Pizza and you're showcasing it on a video. There's a lot of people that are going to be like, holy crap, like I've never heard of this company before. And a lot of these companies like that, Discount Cemetery, like there's so many out there that like are doing great work. Like I found some really, really cool shirts. um I don't remember what the company's called, but I found this Lost Boys one. It was very vintage looking. It comes like very faded, like it's old. And on the back it says like coming soon a video cassette, and had a Major Video logo on the bottom. Now that was the store that when I grew up was before Blockbuster, we had Major Video. So to see that on the back of a Lost Boys shirt, I'm like, dude, like my favorite movie and the actual video store that I had here growing up for some reason was on this shirt. So I was like, I got to get this thing. And I think this company does a lot of that, where they put different like logos of like, smaller video stores from the 80s like on the shirts and almost use them as promo shirts. And I think that it's wild to find stuff like that. And if you can locate that and showcase that, I think it's going to be a
is
big
that
help
Studio
to
House
other
Designs that you're
collectors.
talking
What is it?
Is that Studio House Designs that you're talking about?
It wasn't Studio House Designs. This was another one. I could probably send you the link for their site. They only like, they're the type of company that they do like, they'll throw something up and they'll be like, oh, we only have 15 of these. And then when it's gone, it's gone. And then they might throw one more up. So like if you look at their site, there's only probably like one shirt on it at a time or two or something. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Studio House design was cool. They just did the Max's one, the video store. I grabbed that as well.
I think I missed out on that. Those are like timed releases, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They just did a Lost Boys one last week and they had like sweatpants and all this other stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
But I think that yeah, doing more like stuff like that might be cool, because again, some of these like lower tier horror movie t-shirt companies that are kind of being overlooked by things like Fright Rags and all, a lot it would help a lot of people find some new stuff, because they're putting out killer stuff out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a great idea. I definitely want to keep going in that direction. So yeah, it's time for another shirt haul for sure.
But guys, we're about to head out. Let me know if anybody has any more questions really quick before we leave. And I totally appreciate you guys being in here. See, we're already getting people, they like the Tales from the Truck. They like they're digging it. Matt, this is a cool one too, and I definitely will take this into consideration myself. Reviews of like old, like smaller horror movies back in the day, things like Rush Week, Offerings, Last Slumber Party. People talk a lot about the big titles, but not the small titles. I agree, because you know what? I did a full review, and hey, this could have been just coincidental because the release just came out, but I did a full review on Night Screams,
Yeah,
which
man.
Vinegar Syndrome came out. Dude, that video did really well. Usually my like review videos like don't do that well, but that one for some reason really did for me. And I don't know if it was because it was a brand new title, people wanted to kind of see what was in there, or they were more concerned about what is this slasher movie and why haven't I heard about it, and let me hear
Yeah,
more. Like, who
sure.
knows? So maybe people do want to know a little bit more about like the underground, not well known horror that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like you made me want to get that for sure. I didn't pick it up yet. I'm definitely gonna order that eventually. I don't know if I'm gonna order it during this week or what. I'm just on the fence. Like I said, I spent so much money, damn. But that's on the list to get. Night Screams for sure.
Wait a minute. I forgot you did this. I just watched this the other day.
What?
He loved your unboxing of Stiff Competition.
Oh, yeah, yeah, man, yeah. Because I explained that porn is part of my childhood, just like horror is.
What the hell is going on?
I know. That was so fucking crazy. I know how it sounds. I know how but look, man, I'm just being real, man. Like,
Oh my god,
like my
dude!
brothers used to hide porn around the apartment, like they would hide it, you know what I'm saying? Because they bought it, they weren't supposed to have it. But I found that shit and I would watch that stuff And that's one of the movies that I found, and I was just like, whoa, I remember that one.
You guys are hearing it first here right now, guys. I mean, this conversation has now gone from ice cream trucks and all this stuff to horror, and now we're talking about like when I was playing with wrestling figures, watching wrestling on a Saturday morning. Captain was getting laid in an ice cream truck. That's what was going on here. Like seriously, like this
Yo,
is.
oh my god, are we demonetized yet? I'm sorry.
But I mean, dude, so what's so funny about stiff competition is I'd never heard about it before. I never heard of it before. The release looked like banging from Vinegar Syndrome as far as like the way it looked and stuff. And I was at a convention with buddies, and my friend's like, I'm gonna buy this. So he bought it. We all went back to a hotel. It was like one girl and like 5 dudes, like went back to like a hotel room to like party or whatever. And we all sat there and watched stiff competition. So like it's always been a huge joke now. Like I always recommend it to everybody because I'm like, bro, if you like Karate Kid and Rocky, like you're gonna like this stuff. It's like about a tournament and stuff. So
Yeah,
Justin
man.
from movie Justin just bought it based on my recommendation. So I'm not sure if he's checked it out yet, but
Yeah.
I just think that's such a funny one, but stiff competition because it really is like it really has like a legit storyline like that.
Yeah,
like
it does. And
it's
that's
got a
what
montage and everything.
that's what's cool about like that old school, those old school adult films. You know what I'm saying? Like they had acting and storylines in some sort of direction instead of the way it is now, which that's completely non-existent.
Right.
What I see, but that there was like an art to it back then, and some of the bad acting that I love in horror movies is in these movies too. It's the same bad acting. It's like, as a matter of fact, there's an actor who's in Night of the Creeps who's in a porn from the '80s, and I was like, is that same guy? Like, I was like, no way, that can't be him. He's one of the cops that's like searching the area at some point when
That is so funny.
for the zombie, yeah, that broke out on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, that sort of bad acting in the '80s was shared between horror and porn. Like it was they kind of very close to each other. A lot of actors were getting roles in both types of films. So I mean, I'm not saying it was a good thing, but I was a kid. I discovered stuff like that. So what can I say? And my my family had stuff in the house.
I love it, dude. You guys are living wild over there. So basically, you're saying like a couple ice creams, and the guy was giving him porn tapes too. All right, here, take this.
Yeah.
If you give me the banana split, I'll throw this in with the stiff competition. I'll throw this in.
I guess so, man. But yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, but like I said, I remember that from back in the day, like that and Taboo, and like there's not much else because the '70s stuff that they have, I don't know none of that stuff. I'm like, I'm thinking, now that I'm dipping my toe into the Peakorama titles, I'm thinking I hope they do '90s stuff that I do recognize because I'll pick that up. But I'm not gonna like start getting all that stuff all the time.
Some Jenna.
What's up?
Some Jenna stuff.
Yeah. Jenna stuff for sure. Jenna Jameson, yeah, stuff like that. But I mean, like, I'm not sure where it was going in the '90s, if there was still storylines and stuff, because that's all I'm interested in. Like, I just want to see like that bad acting.
Yeah, you're in it. You're in it for the storyline.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, I'm saying like that. I can see that anywhere. But I love the cheesy stuff, man. There's a lot of cheese in porn. For sure.
Well, we're gonna take one more question. It's gonna be from Max Thunderdome before we sign off here, and he says, "Name a movie that you really hope one day gets a Blu-ray release, such as Light of Day with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox is at the top of his list."
Oh wow. Man, name a movie I would want to get a Blu-ray that doesn't have a Blu-ray release now. Wow. A few months ago or last year, I would have said Cloak and Dagger. I really would have said that. That's a good question, man.
Trying to think. I always bring this one up, and it's Run with Patrick Dempsey. It's like a '90s action thriller. I love that movie. I talk about that a lot. It's stuck on DVD. I mean, it's stuck on pretty much. It has a DVD, but I think it's like overseas. But I mean, it's pretty much stuck in the US on Laserdisc and VHS. That's one. And another one I've talked about before is a movie called Summer Camp Nightmare is another one.
Summer Camp Nightmare, yeah.
That's another one that I love that doesn't have anything but a VHS.
Wow. That's a good question, man. I mean, like a lot of my favorites that I grew up with are already on Blu-ray, and like I'm still like discovering a lot of the obscure stuff that hasn't been like that still didn't make the leap from VHS. You know what I'm saying? And man, and like I said, I would have said Cloak and Dagger because I don't think that ever had a Blu-ray release until Vinegar Syndrome got their hands on it, and that was a big one for me. That was a huge one for me.
And what a job they did with it too. Like that's one of the nicest put together boxes I think they've ever done.
Oh man, it's beautiful. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, I cannot believe it got that treatment. It really is a childhood favorite. Man, spoiler alert, that's also my Rad 9. But but yeah, like Cloak and Dagger is a very special movie for me.
So I take it that's the next video you're putting out, right?
What's up? Yeah, Rad 9 is my no, absolutely.
All right, good. Yeah, guys, if you don't know, us at the Rad Pack put out a community challenge. Go check out the Rad Pack channel on YouTube if you're not over there yet, because we put out a community challenge to give us your Rad 9. And I know a lot of people that were in the chat have already done it. And guys, if you want to participate in it, just make a video, tag us in it, and we'll reshare it and repost it. We'll check it out. But people are asking me, hey, when does it due? There's no time frame, guys. Whenever you want to do it, tag us, and I'd love to see it. So it's basically 9 movies that you grew up with that were constantly on rewind, repeat, that you just watched over and over again, that you feel just kind of made you, fall in love with movies. I'm dying to see what's on yours, man. If Stiff Competition is on there, I'm gonna be going nuts.
I didn't even think about that.
Imagine like an honorable mention. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Finalized yet.
My honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Maybe one. That might be it.
That is so funny, man. You got to do it. But guys, thank you so much. I told him 60 minutes. We're an hour and 45. I mean, this conversation went everywhere, and I think that's what kind of makes it fun and interesting. And dude, like, thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you doing this, especially like you said, you haven't really done any lives before, so this is obviously sometimes it's hard for people to just be like, all right, let's go live, because there is no edits, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're fun. I like this vibe, It's a cool vibe. It's relaxed. At first I was kind of nervous. I'm not even gonna lie, but I love this. Like, I would like to do this a lot more. I mean, I love doing videos and editing and stuff, but this is a very cool vibe. Just shooting the shit with somebody on live, people in the chat. I would love to get on other lives with other people, involved with into the stream. You know what I'm saying? That would be awesome.
Yeah, so guys, make sure to go sub to him, and obviously, it seems like he's interested in collabs too. So hit him up and check out his stuff. And guys, this is Garrett at Born to Be Rad. Like always, stay